everybody, welcome to another episode of Itri at Home. As we've noted a few different times, we're going to try to bring to you a lot of the stuff that we have here at Itri into your home so you kind of understand our offerings and some of the great stuff that we have. And not everybody, but most people, I'm sure, love beer. And so today I have here with us Josh from Lagunitas. Josh and I have been talking back and forth a lot about this, and one of the things I explained to him is we're trying to focus on the local element the best that we can with beer, or with pretty much everything. And yes, Lagunitas is a national brand, but Josh has been in this area, lives in this area, and has been working very hard for this company and does a great job, and we've gotten to know him. So we were happy to do our first installment with Josh, who is really a great rep for his product.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about two beers today, talk a little bit about Josh's story and about the beer story, and see what kind of things they go well with, and you guys can order them and pick them up after the fact. So I know when we first started talking, the thing that we really went with obviously was the flagship beer.
Absolutely.
And that is the Lagunitas IPA. So
absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So Lagunitas IPA is the #1 IPA in the world, both in draft and package. It's an absolutely fantastic beer. 6.2%. It's got a nice caramel malt and English malt undertones with some great hops from the Yakima Valley that we have a great relationship with the farmers up there. And together that kind of combines into this really perfect combination, and you get Lagunitas IPA. This thing pairs absolutely fantastically with everything pretty much on a pizza menu. It's a great go-to beer. It's a great beer for your everyday drinker in the fridge. So there's a reason that it is the #1 IPA in the world. And if you want to give it a try, we could definitely.
So I like to, and you said it's like for the beer in the fridge, and that's exactly what I use this beer as.
Absolutely.
And that is, I love this beer.
All right, you want me to pour you that?
Yeah,
right,
sure.
Fantastic. Yeah, so as you can see, it is you get a nice amber hue from it, and that's from the caramel malt. So that's also going to add a little bit of sweetness to it, and that sweetness is what balances out the twang from the hops. All right, so
awesome.
That's for you, sir.
Yep.
Now this will pair really great. I've had several of your margarita pizzas here. As you can see, Body by Pizza. And this is a perfect beer for the Itri margarita or the classic cheese.
Social distance cheers.
Social distance cheers, of course. It's good stuff.
It is really good stuff.
Nice and fresh. You get a nice crisp, clean hop burst from that. And then that caramel malt just kind of like balances out everything. Absolutely fantastic beer.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was going to say, when I used to be able to go out as much as we did, even when we owned this place,
miss that?
I certainly do, and at home as well. There are times where I'm just exploring a beer menu where I'm like, all right, I want something interesting, unique, new, and I go through, and then I see Lagunitas IPA on there. I'm like, I'm gonna get that.
Absolutely.
Because you know how solid a beer it really is. It's refreshing, and I think it's not too intimidating for a beer drinker that wants to delve into the IPA. I call that
approachable. It's an approachable beer. It's one you can
it really is.
Step up to any time of day or night and be able to enjoy it.
It's a delicious beer. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cheers.
So we have these in 6-packs to go. And as Josh said, really pairs great with everything on our menu, but solid pizza beer. Cool. Yeah. So if and when you call for an order, if you would just like to say, hey, I'd also like to get a 6-pack of Lagunitas to go, we can take care of that for you and put it on your order.
Absolutely.
So, cool. All right. So now that's the flagship. Now let's move on to something a little bit more unique, I guess.
Sure. So this is, with any brewery evolution, there's going to be some innovations and there's going to be some new beer styles that come out. And what's the newest beer style that we all know about, which is that hazy IPA. So this is our latest iteration of the hazy beer category. This beer is called Hazy Wonder. It is a 6% hazy IPA. It is a little bit more sessionable than our past iterations of hazy beers. We had a beer called Hazy Memory that was an 8% total butt kicker, but absolutely delicious, a little bit high in alcohol. This one comes in at about 6%, so it's a little bit more sessionable. It's not a session beer, don't drink it that way, but it definitely is one that you can have a couple beers with dinner.
And a little funny story about this beer is that I ordered it last week. I'd been talking to Josh about how we wanted to feature some new beers. So I brought this in with the intent of having it here today so that we could talk about it. And that was late last week. And today, or last night, I called Josh and said, we don't have any more of that because it's sold out. It sold out immediately. So we do have more now.
Yeah.
So we brought it more in to sell, but this is already selling really well. And again, it pairs pretty well with a lot of the stuff on our menu. So
absolutely.
What do you think? Out of a can or out of a glass?
I think a glass would probably be good because I want to be able to show the kind of the difference between the two colors. So okay. I mean, I have a clean glass. Do you?
Cool.
So we'll get into the grain bill in this one. It's nice and silky. So you're going to get some oats. You're going to get some wheat. You're going to get a little bit of two-row. And then the hops are Sabro, Mosaic, and El Dorado. Nice hops that are on trend right now. So the flavor profile is going to be very 2020, I guess you could say.
Cool.
All right, so let's give this one a...
And while you're pouring that, is hazy, am I right to say that hazy is a New England style? Is that right?
I would say those guys sort of put that style onto the map.
Okay.
On a national level, there are brewers I'm sure that will argue with me about that. Who started what? It's kind of like who started punk rock. You know what I mean? Was it the East Coast or the West Coast, or was it Britain? So it's the same kind of concepts. It's but the guys that are putting very hazy and milkshake styles and those type of things, murky beers, turbid beers. Those are all the New England guys.
Gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's give this one a shot.
All right, so as you can see, the color on this one is a much lighter. You're going to get a little bit more of a straw color. If you look through there, you see those little flaky things floating in there. That's it's supposed to be there. That's the point of a hazy beer, is that it's unfiltered. And then if you want to give it a nice pull, it's nice and balanced.
Yeah,
that is so good. 25 IBUs on this beer. So IBUs are bittering unit, so it's perception of bitterness. This isn't like a super bitter beer. It's not a hop bomb. It's not going to blow your heads up. It's more of a dry hopped concept as opposed to boil hops. Okay.
Definitely not a hoppy IPA.
No, not at all. But nice, but
very good. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice and light. Good Sunday beer.
Yep. Good,
sitting outside beer. Eating a tomato pie, maybe.
Perfect.
From Itri.
Perfect analogy.
Absolutely. So this would pair perfectly with that Sunday tomato pie and a beer kind of concept. Not that any of us get up early and start drinking. But.
Awesome. Yeah, this one's really good. I like this. So, as I said, so on the weekly, we're going to be bringing in some special beers, and we're going to keep the ones around, obviously, that people like. We always have this, and we always will have this, the Lagunitas IPA. That is kind of our flagship staple IPA here as well. And as I said, this one already sold out once, so if it keeps selling out, we're going to keep it. But we'll definitely have this for at least the next week or so. So get some beer, get some pizza, and order from Itri. And we really appreciate you being here today. I think it's been a really enlightening conversation.
I hope so, and I love my time in the borough. I love my time here and hanging out with Greg and everybody in Bristol. And thanks for having me here today.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh.
All right. Thanks.
Cool.